Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, I will make my updated top 25 coasters I've ridden. I made one of these back in April. That list is now vastly outdated because I recently came back from my 2020 trip. I had an absolutely amazing time. I'm still deciding which trip was better, the 2019 trip or the 2020 trip. Anyways, I originally had 62 credits, now I have 102. I got a total of 40 new credits, and I went to a total of 5 new parks. Anyways, let's get into the list. Starting off the list, at number 25, we have a coaster that will likely spark a lot of controversy. This is MAMBA at Worlds of Fun, the park's Chance Morgan hypercoaster. Most people consider this ride to just be a mediocre hypercoaster, with some even labeling it as a mine train. To them, I say that MAMBA is an amazing ride. It has some amazing ejector airtime. Much like a certain Morgan Hyper that is much higher on this list, this ride basically has buzz bars. Therefore, you absolutely go flying out of your seat. Easily the best part of this ride is the first hill after the first drop. That is easily one of the most sustained moments of airtime I've experienced. It gives standing ejector. Anyways, MAMBA is an amazing hypercoaster and is a ride that is certainly underrated. At the number 24 spot, we have another ride at Worlds of Fun, this one being PROWLER, the park's GCI wooden coaster. This coaster is just awesome. It has some good airtime and feels very out of control. I've come to the realization that one of my favorite elements to a coaster is the out of control feeling. PROWLER is a great example of this. The out of control feeling makes it feel very intense. Anyways, PROWLER is an awesome ride and is my favorite at Worlds of Fun. At the number 23 spot, we have another GCI, this one being Thunderhead at Dollywood. This coaster is similar to Prowler, but with some more elements. Everything I said about Prowler applies here. Therefore, Thunderhead is a great ride. At the number 22 spot, we have another very controversial pick. This is Powder Keg at Silver Dolly City. Why does no one talk about this thing? That first launch is so intense and is one of my favorite launches I've experienced. The rest of the ride consists of great airtime and some good laterals as well. This is just such a fun ride and I think it deserves more attention. At the number 21 spot, we have yet another controversial pick, The Beast at Kings Island. This Din Corporation wooden coaster has been spoken of a few times on this channel. This was originally number 14 on my top 25, but it has moved down. Not because I think any less of this coaster, but just because I've ridden so many new, awesome coasters that this naturally will fall down a few spots. The Beast is still an amazing, underrated ride with some insane laterals and such an out-of-control feeling, especially at night. At the number 20 spot, we have the Legend at Holiday World. This CCI Woody is another coaster I consider underrated. It has some of my favorite laterals I've experienced and is a very smooth ride. I've talked about this ride before, and I think I've said enough. This is an awesome ride that just barely cracks my top 20. At the number 19 spot, we have Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast at Six Flags St. Louis. This Premier Ride shuttle coaster is absolutely awesome. That backwards launch is very fun and the inverting top hat is very intense. The vertical spike is also amazing. I've said it once and I'll say it again. A cloned ride does not equal a bad ride. This is a great ride that you will love if you love intense launch coasters. At the number 18 spot, we have quite possibly the most intimidating coaster of all time. This is Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. This Intamin Stratocoaster was the first of its kind. For a ride only 17 seconds long, it packs quite a large punch. The first launch is easily my favorite launch I've experienced and is so intense. I don't really have much to say other than this is an incredible coaster that should be high up on your list of must-do coasters. At the number 17 spot, we have another Intamin launch coaster, this one being Storm Runner at Hershey Park. This coaster has been talked about recently because Hershey Park announced this coaster will not be opening this year. I think this is unfortunate because this is an incredible ride. I slightly prefer it over Dragster just because it has more elements. I've talked about it before, and I think I've said all I need to say. This is an awesome launch coaster that you will love if you love launch coasters. At the number 16 spot, we have Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. This Aero hypercoaster was the first true hypercoaster. It still holds 100% up to this day. It has such good ejector airtime and feels so out of control. Such an amazing classic coaster that you will love if you enjoy painful ejector. At the number 15 spot, we have what may be the most controversial pick on the list. That is Batman the Ride at Six Flags St. Louis. I know this will give me some hate, but listen to me on this one. I absolutely love B&M inverts, even if they are clones. This is such an intense and whippy coaster. Other than the fact that they're everywhere, there's really nothing wrong with these Batman clones. They are such good rides that deserve more respect. At the number 14 spot, we have the other Batman the Ride clone I've ridden, this one being at Six Flags Over Georgia. The exact same things apply to the one at Six Flags St. Louis, but this one is more intense, so I prefer it. Not much to say other than this is an awesome ride. At the number 13 spot, we have another B&M invert, this one being Raptor at Cedar Point. Remember everything I said about Batman? Yeah, that applies here as well, but Raptor is longer and has more elements, so I do prefer it. At the number 12 spot, we have Time Traveler at Silver City. This is a one-of-a-kind Mack Rides Extreme Spinning Coaster. This ride is absolutely messed up. It is such a weird but amazing ride. Let me just say, the first drop out of the station is one of the craziest things I've ever experienced on a coaster. It is absolutely insane. This ride also has some great positives and airtime. Yeah, this is just an awesome but freaky ride that I love. Plus, the theming is awesome. At the number 11 spot, we have the Voyage at Holiday World. I've done a full review on this coaster. I would like to clear one thing up. Even though I do consider this ride overrated, I do not dislike this ride at all. I really like it. That's why I have it as my number 11 spot. I don't dislike any coaster on this list. I love every single coaster, and I would rank all of these 8.5 out of 10 or higher. This just isn't exactly my type of ride because I consider the airtime very weak. It's still an awesome, long, intense, and very fun ride that I highly recommend you ride. Starting off the top 10, we have Outlaw Run at Silver City. This RMC wooden coaster beats out the Voyage due to the airtime and re-rideability. This ride might look that good based off of a POV, but this ride is absolutely amazing. The first drop gives awesome ejector, and the twisted hills do as well. This also has my favorite inversions on any RMC, especially the insane double barrel roll at the end. Some people consider this a weak RMC, but in my opinion, weak RMC is an oxymoron because no RMC is weak. At the number 9 spot, we have Alpengeist at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Yes, this still makes my top 10 for sure. I've praised this ride more than any other coaster I've ridden due to how much love I have for this coaster. I even named my channel after this ride once. So yeah, I think everyone knows what I think about this amazing ride. At the number 8 spot, we have Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. This RMC hybrid is certainly my favorite coaster at Six Flags Over Georgia. Once again, several people consider this a weak RMC when it definitely isn't. This is such an amazing ride. It's full of amazing pops of ejector and some great inversions. Plus, it has an absolutely amazing wave turn. This is another extremely re-rideable, fun ride that I think everyone should love. At the number 7 spot, we have Maverick at Cedar Point. This is another extremely re-rideable fun ride. What makes this ride especially awesome is the intensity. This is such a whippy intense ride with an awesome launch and 2 amazing airtime moments. At the number 6 spot, we have Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom. This Chance Morgan Hyper GTX is absolutely incredible. It's almost like if Maverick didn't have a launch and instead had much more airtime moments. Much like Maverick, this ride has a lot of whippy transitions. The airtime on this ride, especially on the finale, is so strong that it can be painful. This ride is just so good and so much fun. At the number 5 spot, we have Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Hate me all you want for this, but this has left my top 3. Let me just say, I do not dislike this ride. That's just ridiculous. The pros absolutely crush the cons, even if the cons are there for sure. I may make a pros and cons on this video to explain the good and a little bit of bad about this ride. This is still an absolutely amazing ride and is my 3rd favorite RMC, even if the airtime is mostly floater and flowjector. Sorry, coaster craziness. At the number 4 spot, we have another RMC hybrid, this one being Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. This ride is almost like if Twisted Cyclone was made much more violent and intense. The airtime is so unbelievably strong, and this ride is very intense for an RMC. It isn't the most intense RMC I've ridden, and doesn't have the strongest airtime I've experienced on an RMC. We'll get to that soon. But everything this ride does is almost perfect. This is such an incredible ride that everyone should enjoy if they can take the pain from the airtime strength. At the number 3 spot, we have my favorite Intamin coaster I've ridden, the Intamin Hypercoaster SKYRUsh at Hershey Park. I've praised this ride a lot for a few reasons. The main reason is because of how sustained and sharp the ejector is on this ride. The first drop is absolutely my favorite first drop I've experienced, and the camelbacks are just absolutely insane. This ride is also, if not one of, the most intense coaster I've ridden. Due to the restraints, the airtime can be painful, but I can deal with the pain for all of that insane ejector airtime. At the number 2 spot, we have Phantom's Revenge, the Chance Morgan Hypercoaster at Kennywood. This coaster was my number 1 for quite a long time. I do not feel any different about this absolutely insane, amazing ride. This ride is not only intense, but has some of my favorite airtime ever. The restraints on this ride make it so that you can get an unbelievable amount of room. The ejector on this ride makes you fear for your life due to how strong it is, especially the 4 hills after you take the second dive under Thunderbolt. So yeah, this is easily one of the greatest coasters I've ridden, but still doesn't stand any chance against my new number 1 coaster. At the number 1 spot, we have the Holy Lightning Rod at Dollywood. This one-of-a-kind launched RMC wind coaster is by far my new number 1. Even with all of the hype over this ride, it still managed to exceed my expectations. I won't talk about this ride all that much because I'm making a review on this coaster as soon as possible. So yeah, I think this is most likely the best coaster in the world and absolutely my number 1 coaster I've ridden. It will mostly stay my number 1 for a very, very long time. And there you have it, my updated top 25 coasters I've ridden. This list was hard to make, especially since a few of these coasters I've only ridden 4 days ago. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Inverted Thrills, out.